Yes, Pretzelman 945 here. I forgot to hold in my mic. Welcome back to. In today's video, I am going to be recording doing a I'm going to be doing this site called Then Average, which I literally just saw in a video today by one of my favorite YouTubers. Um, and it's very self-explanatory. So it says, imagine you are in a room with 100 strangers and they're similar to your peers and neighbors. Based solely on your own instinct, perception, and self-reflection, answer the following questions. Um, and so the whole point of this is like you compare yourself on certain things, whether it's like you're better or worse than average. And um, just thought this would be interesting for a video, just kind of like on impulse. And so yeah, we're just gonna get into it. Um, more extrovert? No, I am definitely not. I am an extremely introverted person. I've done personality tests before, and I'm like the introvert versus extrovert thing. Mine is like 90% introvert normally. So, um, do I work harder than average? Okay. So this could be based on a lot of different things. What I am equating this to personally is like um the amount of like time I am like having to work toward a goal. And I'm gonna say less hard because I'm in college. I feel like even if my classes can get busy, I have um quite a fair amount of free time. Um and like there's no way the part-time job I have can be nearly as exhaustive as the amount of work that many people do for full-time jobs. I'm gonna say less hard. 57%. Okay, that's almost equal. More narcissistic? No, definitely not. Um, 63%. Okay, kind of majority there. Do you give to homeless people more than ever? Okay, so with this one, by the way, I love it. I love that, like, you can click all the people and whatnot. I don't know how many of these I'm gonna do, but like the video I watched was like 20 minutes, so I don't know. Whatever feels like a good length to me. Um, so homeless people more than um I occasionally donate, but I think it's important to keep in mind that everyone has their own finances and everyone has their own financial situations. I am in a very comfortable financial position. I feel very fortunate to say that, but I'm very careful with my finances, and it's not quite to a position where this is something I can do frequently, unfortunately. But that's just yeah, 80. I suspect that's the case for a lot of people. Like 80% have their own finances, and so that's gotta differ for a lot of people. Um, no on this, because I have never been in a relationship, so which I suspect is the reason that 81 that this one has a very high majority. More punctual, I would like to think so. I personally think I make a very big deal of on time, so more fulfilled can have a lot of different meaning. Um, I'm looking at this as like I'm very fulfilled with my life right now. I'm very satisfied with it, and if that's the case, I'm definitely that. 50-50, that's interesting. Funnier than average. This is this is like the most subjective one of all of these. Hmm. This is really hard to answer. Um, but I think I'm a very funny guy, to be honest. That's kind of close, 58%. Do you have more friends than average? No. I'm very sad for everything my friends I have, and I think all the friends I have are great. But obviously, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'm very introverted, so I do not go out more, and I don't really have as many friends as other people. So, uh, wow, that is interesting. I guess it makes sense considering the majority was like less extroverted, but still, 76% for fewer friends. That's interesting to me. More religious. I am not religious at all personally. I think I've mentioned that on the podcast before. Wow. Okay. That is the most surprising statistic so far. 84% or less than average. That's a lot higher of a majority than I expected. I didn't even think there would be a majority in this direction. I thought this might be the minority. That's very surprising to me. More privileged than average? This is kind of like the narcissistic question where like there is some argument to be made by saying that you're not that you actually are, but I do not think I am a particularly privileged person. But um oh wait, actually I regret clicking that. Actually, hmm. Now that I think about it more, I would have probably picked this option. I can definitely see why this is a majority option, actually. Um, oh well. Envy? No, I would definitely say not. And I'm glad that that is the majority. I would hope that most people feel like fulfilled enough in their lives that they don't feel like they don't feel like that is a constant feeling because I've never liked envy. I think it's a very negative and bad just emotion to have. Um, okay. Your music taste. Um, I could totally be so like bougie douche and say yes, I do. Um, and you know what? I think I do. I think a lot of popular music, especially in America, think kind of sucks. So uh I think this is really funny that like that this is like even more than the funny one. This is like the most subjective one yet because like everyone is gonna think that their own music taste is the best, of course. Um, so kinder than average. Um, I think I am. That's 69%. Okay. Um, do I worry more than average? Um, I don't have anxiety, but this this is really like hard to because I don't know. Huh. This this might be like the hardest one so far, in my opinion, because I genuinely like this one is such a hard one to gauge because like worrying is such a general term and it could apply to like so many different things, but I'm gonna say less than average. Wow, wow, okay. I'm surprised. That is uh not what I expected. Well. Actually, I don't really have an expectation. I don't know why I'm saying that, but I think it's interesting that that is the minority. I think it's very interesting that like a majority of people think they worry more than average. The reason I say I think I worry less is because I've explained is I think I have a very comfortable life right now. So, um, I think in general that probably means less things for me to worry about. So, um, did I have a better childhood than average? I think I definitely did because and obviously this is also a very subjective question, but like I'm a big fan of um those channels that like read Reddit stories and stuff like that. And sometimes they have like a prompt about like, foster kids stories or like um kids that were abused. And I'm like, dang, I am very fortunate to have not had a childhood like that. So I definitely think my childhood was better than average. Um, again with a fun number, but um, uh, the fact like either side being the majority, I don't think would surprise me because that's just a very subjective question. Uh, definitely better at keeping secrets because I'm like, to be honest, I've never really understood people who feel the need to like spill secrets or feel guilty about keeping them. Like, um, because I don't like, because in my opinion, I think it's probably worse if you reveal a secret because not only are you obviously this can apply to literally bajillions of situations, but um I feel like not only are you potentially worsening a situation by keeping a secret, but also I think the bigger issue is that if you reveal someone else's secret, then you are inherently breaking their trust. Um and so that's why I don't really understand that like inherent desire or like a guiltiness that people feel to tell other secrets. Um, but I would say I'm better at keeping secrets because, to be honest, um, if someone tells me a secret, more than likely I'm just gonna forget it. Um, and I'm not like using that as a way to like make fun of the things that some people might tell me, even if it's like very sensitive thing. It's just genuinely the truth because like um just the way my brain works, I have very, very bad like selective memory. Um, so I'm constantly like remembering extremely random things that often aren't very relevant, and often like someone telling me a secret would probably be one of the things that's just lost in that cycle of my subconscious. So I would think I'm definitely better at keeping secrets than average. Um, and I'm not surprised that that's a majority. I think the amount of people that like feel guilty about keeping things like I described, I think that's definitely a minority. Um, um, better holidays than average. So again, this is extremely subjective, but in the past couple years, I have been um to like in the past 3 years, I have gone from 0 countries visited internationally to, let me think, 3 years. City. I have gone from uh 0 countries visited internationally to like 9. And obviously I could be forgetting one or messing up the number, but like um in terms of that uh quantity, I would say definitely yes. But I can also understand why this is the majority, to be honest, because some people might be like, you know, again, very subjective question. So either one being a majority, again, that's not one that really would have surprised me that much. Um, I am definitely less patient than average. I don't think I'm a uh impatient person. I think I used to be a lot more impatient when I was younger, but I think I'm definitely less patient than average. Are you a better communicator than average? I would say I am. And I'm not surprised that's a 50-50 one that can vary so much between people. Um, do I? Ooh, hmm. This is a hard one. This is another one like the wording one that's really hard to gauge. Um, I think I used to lie a lot more when I was younger. Um, so I'm gonna say I lie less than average now. Um, but uh, that can vary. Like that one is so hard to judge between just like different people. So more confident. I think my self confidence has improved a lot over the years, so I'm gonna say yes. Um, that is more split than I thought, to be honest. I kind of thought that one would be a little bit more one-sided, but that's interesting. Um, I mean, to be honest, I don't really how you define a good neighbor necessarily, but like, um, I, I am, as I've mentioned at this video, I'm a massive introvert, so I don't really like interacting with strangers that much, and that probably includes neighbors. So I'm probably a worse neighbor than average, to be honest. uh, but again, that can vary a lot, and I don't really know how you. The definition of a good neighbor is very subjective. Um, better gifts than average. I think I've given some really good gifts, and I think that everyone probably gives good gifts, but I think they're probably slightly worse than average, I think. Um, and I think I am with the majority of people over here because, like, people see like big things and they assume that it's like worse than their gift, if even if that inherently caused them to not feel like guilty or worse about the gift that they got at all, there is still, I think, some inherent like small feeling of that. Um, ooh, do you use people more than average? Okay, I think this is like the most personal question so far. Um, uh, think I used to more when I was younger, but these days, um, I do not think I do very much at all. And wow, that's a big majority there. Which is a good thing. Uh, I I can't lie because it's you as people, you're probably not a nice person. So I mean, that's uh do I smell better than average? I like to think I smell pretty dang good, so I'm going to say yes, I do. I'm not surprised that's kind of split down the middle. Um, am I more hopeful than average? I think I'm more hopeful now than I was when I was younger. Um, uh, I had a lot of dark times when I was a teenager, where it was very easy for me to think of that fact. But I think I am more hopeful now than the average person, to be honest. But if you asked me this when I was like 12 or 13, I definitely would have picked the lesser option. Um, am I more selfish than average? This is again a very personal question. I would say I am more selfish than average. Because I personally do not believe I am an inherently selfish person, but I do think more than the average person, there are some situations where I have done an action that slightly more benefits myself than other people. So, um, but absolutely not. I am horrible at math. I absolutely suck balls at math. That is by far the easiest answer they have given in this entire video so far. um, um, this is kind of the same as the hopeful question. I do think I am more optimistic than average. Uh, are you? That is crazy. Absolute crazy works this question here. Um, I think, um, I think my feet are probably worse looking than average. I'm not surprised that's split. That is such a weird question. Um, Wealthier than average. So I would say that I am, um, upper middle class. So I think I am wealthier than the average person. I'm also not surprised that that's a very split response. Do I complain more than average? That is interesting. Trying to think about how much I complain about things on a daily basis. I think like if we're talking about like I'm like taking the idea of complaining down to like the most tiny of nitpicks that I do complain more than the person. A better driver? No. Because um I I'm only 19. There are people who have been driving for way longer who are probably way better than driving at me. And yet I am also astounded how bad some adults can be at driving. But um I'm not surprised that that's a 50-50 one. Um uh I do think I'm more polite than average. And I'm not surprised that, 75% of people think that. Like, I think it's pretty easy to be a polite person in a lot of situations. More interesting than average, obviously an extremely subjective question. I think I am more interesting than the average person. Um, and doesn't surprise me that's basically a 50-50 split. Um, do I care about the environment more than average? So, obviously, um, the environment is a very big issue, and I do care about the environment, but um, and I definitely think I care more now than when I was younger. Um, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of people that do a lot more on a daily basis and generally think about and care about the environment more than I do. So I am gonna say that I care less about the environment, but I still do care a lot because I think it is very important. Um, Definitely do not cry more than average. This is like one of the easiest ones to answer because um this is not me trying to say that I'm like, oh, I'm so manly, oh man, never cry or anything like I I just don't like it's just the way people are built. Like some people like cry at everything. Um like my mom, for example, but or some people just do not really cry at anything at all, like itself. Um, it's just like it's all about the way that your brain chemistry is wired and the way that you process emotions, which is different for every person. And for me, that means that I don't really cry at anything, even if I can be very, very emotionally resonant with something. Um, and in fact, I feel like crying actually is like I think it's this is a little bit of a ramble, but I think crying is kind of like too overused as the sign of an emotional resonance to something. Like, oh, if you don't cry, then you clearly weren't connected to this and you really like it that much. Like, I, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of created an unnecessary stigma because I have definitely been extremely emotionally resonant to things that I have not that have made me very, very sad and have made me feel a lot of emotions, even though I haven't cried in them. So, more loved than average. I think I am. Um, I'm not surprised that's a 50-50 split, though. That's another one that can just vary so much based on situation. Definitely worse at cooking. I do not cook very much on my own, so therefore I do not really have much experience with it. I'm not a big fan of cooking in general. I've cooked a couple times, and when I follow a recipe and like with my parents' help, it's been kind of rewarding, and the food has been edible, and I didn't burn down the kitchen. But like in general, I find the cooking process kind of stressful, especially like coming up with meals, which is why um uh when I live on my own, like at an older age, I am definitely getting like one of those Hello Fresh meal plan things, because I would not be able to come with ideas to cook. Better ideas than average. This one is so hard because like you're taking into account like so many different fields, and this is including like probably ton of groundbreaking science where new ideas are invented like basically every day that are revolutionary for their fields. I'm gonna say worse, to be honest. Um, I am wow. I'm surprised that that is a majority. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I guess that can vary a lot, but I don't know. That's very surprising to me. That's very surprising. Uh, exercise more than average? No, definitely not. Um, I have I have a very consistent gym routine that I am quite happy with, and I love going to the gym. I've been going to the gym very actively for I want to say 2.25 years. So but at the same time, there are millions of people who exercise a lot more than me on a daily basis, and they're not even close to professional athletes. So, um, more ambitious than average, I would say no. I have never really thought of myself as a particularly ambitious person. More empathetic than average. This is another one that is, in my opinion, really, really hard to gauge. Because like where empathy is used and to what kinds of situations and for what kinds of people can vary a lot. Um, I this is hard. This is another really hard one. Um, man, I do not know. Hmm. Hmm. I would say that I am think a little less. But again, that is such a hard question to answer. Um, I don't know, maybe on a different day, I feel like I am more empathetic. That's really hard. To answer. Healthier than average. Um, I think I'm a healthy person, and I think that I am happy with the way that I eat currently, but I think I'm less healthy than um probably quite a few people. Um, doesn't surprise me that that's like almost 50-50. That can vary a lot. Uh, I think I will do a couple. Actually, I think this will be the last question that I do. I do think I'm better at keeping my home tidy than average. What is this see results button? Ah, okay. This tells you all the percentages of the ones that you picked. So that's interesting. Um, Okay. That was a very interesting website. I think that's a very cool website. I would honestly really recommend that you try that out for yourself. Um, because that definitely, like, a lot of those questions were a lot more personal than I was expecting to see, and several of those were extremely difficult questions that, like, even though I'm normally quite a decisive person, like, some of those were like extremely hard to gauge, and so that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. I, I don't know if this is the kind of site where I would really like make a sequel video to this, but it was a very interesting experience as kind of a one-off. So I hope you enjoy, and I very much encourage this encourage you to try this for yourself, because I do think it's a very, very interesting site that, like, definitely reveals a lot about you um by what you answer, and also it doesn't by what you answer, so it's very interesting. But anyway, enough rambling. um Thank you very much for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later. Bye.